So this is the bandsaw that I currently own. It's a little parkside hobby bandsaw. The worst thing about it is the rip vents, so in this video we're going to try and do something about it. Right, so before we move on to cutting any wood out, I need to determine the size of the table. I think from my review video it was 300mm, but let's double check. So it measures 299. So now I know that, I can jump on the table saw and rip some wood down. So I found a few offcuts of wood that I just had lying about, and just on the table saw I just trimmed them down to the correct width. Alright, so we've ripped our bits down on the table saw now. So I've got 3 pieces for the fence. You can see the middle bit is shorter than the 2 outside ones. Now I've not cut these down to final length, but you do need the middle one shorter than the end 2, but all 3 are longer than the table. So you need another piece that's going to be your back lock, a bit for the front lock. You need a handle and you need a locking cam. Now I just drew the handle and the locking cam just by hand first, and then came back with a ruler, and I used a lid off of spray tin to get the curve. So we'll cut them out now. I think we could use a scroll saw, or we could use a bandsaw. I don't know. Let's see which I end up using. So in the end, I did opt for the scroll saw. It's a tool I really like using, but most of the projects I produce, I don't end up having a need to use it. But for this project it's absolutely ideal because it gets in all the tight little corners and is great for all the tight little bends as well. So then after I'd finished cutting everything out on the scroll saw, I moved over to the bench sander just to refine and get everything to the right shape. And then I just eased over the handle part until it felt right in the hand. Alright, so now we've got them to shape. I think they look alright actually. The next job is to get this locking cam to fit to this, we'll call it a back lock strip. It's 140mm long by 30mm wide, and the reason it's 30mm wide is because the lip on my table is 25mm, so I've made just that little bit bigger. Okay, so whilst the locking cam's drying, we can get on and do the lock for the other side. So I've got my 3 pieces that make up my fence, and my fence is going to be 50mm tall. So this piece of wood that I've got here, piece of plywood, is 70mm by 140mm. And again, all I'm going to do is get the wood for the fence flush. I'm going to offer up this piece, and then getting it roughly in the middle, I'm just going to mark a line with a pencil either side, and then I'm going to come in so it's slightly past the top of the fence, like so. And then with my engineer's square I'm going to join the dots up. So this is going to be the back locking mechanism, so we'll take this over to the bandsaw and cut it out. Right, so next we can offer up one of our rip fence pieces, and then the locking cam, we can put it on the edge here, and we know roughly where we can cut it down to. Now we got to bear in mind that this locking cam, I'm going to over exaggerate here, is going to pivot, so we need to cut a little bit extra off. So I'm going to cut it about here, But also we need to make a cutout about here to about here. So then after cutting that out on a bandsaw, I've added this little eyelet hook in the bottom of the top piece, and I've also added one here in the cam lock, and eventually when I assemble it they will have a spring between the two of them connecting them. Now I've got the three fence pieces taped up together, and I'm just going to flush them up on the far end. So then after I flushed them up, they're still taped together, I moved over to the drill press. Now's the ideal time to drill out the holes on either side, and you can see I used a little scrap here of plywood in the void between the two fence parts just so they didn't compress together and throw the holes off centre. Then I can also drill the hole out in the handle part. Then I can cut out two pieces of this 6mm aluminium rod. So now that I've got all the parts cut out for the rip fence, I can get it loosely assembled just to check it all works and it actually does the job that it's meant to do. So now that I know that the fence actually works, it's time to take it apart, assemble it properly and refinish it. So there we go, a much better ripsaw fence for the bandsaw, a lot more sturdier and definitely a lot more user friendly. There's only one place really for the old fence to go now. I'm not overly keen on the colour scheme that I've ended up doing the fence. Only meant to paint the handle black, got a little bit trigger happy with the spray can. I don't know why I end up painting everything flipping orange and black for, oh well. I've got my first video out on Patreon if you want to join me and my only patron over there, Chris. Link in the description box below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, you know, all those things. Let me know what you think of this and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.